Good morning. We are located here at the United Way of Cascade County's office here in Great Falls, Montana. We're sitting next to Lacey Hallett, the Impact Community Director, and our co-host and partner in the agency, Janet Duffy. She's going to explain to us a little bit about the history of Graduation Matters, which has been renamed to another item. So we're going to turn it over to Janet to kind of take us away.
This is really exciting. I love that you have the name, the new name,
Graduate to Elevate,
on your t-shirt, so it's easy to remember. I remember when Graduation Matters started,
right?
And just how excited I think a lot of people were about the initiative and why it mattered. So can you maybe start there, Lacey? Like, where did it start and how did we get here today?
To give you a little history just in general of United Ways across the country, you know, we really started as this community chest model. And the intent was to kind of pool donations and, you know, even if you could only give a little, it went really far. And so for a long time, United Ways granted directly to nonprofits, and that was really their core function. They were kind of a foundation model. In about 2010, United Way Worldwide proposed this idea of a lot of the nonprofits that we're funding are providing direct services, meeting families where they are in that moment. So I use the example all the time of a family that's hungry. We provide them a food voucher and get them a food box. And we desperately need those services. But the reality is that providing that direct service for that one-time instance doesn't resolve the fact that that family is food insecure in the first place. And so Worldwide kind of challenged United Way as already being so connected to partners. Could we position ourselves to be a really nonpartisan, neutral entity to catalyze and bring people together across sectors to think differently about how do we resolve these issues. So graduation, for example, it'd be really easy to point at graduation and say, that's an educator's problem. That's the school district's problem.
Yeah, let's get those kids through the...
Right, but what we know is that children who drop out stay in our community.
It's a community problem.
But they don't have access to go off and do other things as easily. And so we need to make it a community problem and a community-based solution. And so that's really where that Graduation Matters concept started. Simultaneously, Missoula County was rolling out the actual title, Graduation Matters, Missoula County. And so they were kind of modeling this idea of what if we broke groups into sectors, so schools and businesses and families and caregivers, and parents and then children as well, the youth voice piece of it. And so we looked at that model and thought that's a great idea. And Denise Juneau was our state superintendent, and Denise really picked that up and put some energy behind it and gave it this like statewide push. And so we really ran with that brand. We did a lot of education in the community, and we had a lot of support around really getting people to commit to that idea of this is a community
This
need.
is a systemic issue that needs to be addressed.
And it's kind of like that old saying, you teach someone the fish, they eat for a lifetime. You give them a fish and they only eat for the one time. So so we did some really amazing things. We really stayed true to everything we do is driven by metrics. So we've stayed really true to those metrics, and we don't just arbitrarily pull those. They are metrics that come from national recommendations and our greatest partner, which is our school district in this case. And so we really make sure that they provide that expertise. We are experts in convening groups, not in the topic or subject matter of anything that we do. So we really try and ensure that we really are staying in our lane of bringing folks together and supporting that. And then producing whatever campaign messaging that is necessary, and really supporting the ideas that come from our community. So is Graduate to Elevate then just a United Way program now in association with the school district?
No, so it's just a rebrand of Graduation Matters. And that, I'm so glad you asked that, Todd, because that has been something that we've really tried to get people to wrap their brain around, because we do happen to convene several different initiatives in our community, but we don't claim them as ours, which is also why we love being able to tell our story a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because the people that are doing this work in our community, oftentimes it gets established and then it moves on. So a great example is a couple years ago we did the Converge play in Great Falls. We had an applicant come forward in our grant process that wanted to write a play about young people and what they're experiencing now and what teachers experience now in our school districts. And so we funded that program, and with that came the school district asking us, will you step up and help us converse with the community of, okay, now we've riled you up. Let's channel how we put that energy to work, because what we know is when we rile people up, they'll find ways to make an impact, and sometimes it's not the ways we want, or they don't realize that that's already happening over here. This is available to you.
And that's why United Way is in such a unique position, because you know what's happening, so you can be that pivotal piece that says, okay, connect with this group so we're not duplicating, and we're being really efficient with not only resources, people, time.
And so from Converge, there's this passion to what do we do? How do we help? And we really got this call for a youth resource center. I mean, that was a huge conversation that came up. And so between the Public Schools Alliance for Youth United Way, we brought those folks together. We brought the community together, all of the necessary partners to help get that built. But as you can see, we're now 3 years later, and Alliance for Youth gets to own that amazing work. They're sustaining it, and we give them all the credit, and we still fund them and do all those things. But United Way's story gets lost a little bit in some of the things we do, right? So I love that we get to talk about it and say, like, really our function in the community is being that catalyst, being that convener and that neutral ground to get folks together, help them speak the same language, and help them stay away from saying, no, we can't do that. And add to that statement, but here's what we can do, right? Like, what are our options?
So how do they contact you, and will you explain where this new location is?
Yes, so we're
I think that's important to the community to know where United Way is located.
Yeah, we're a little off the beaten path. We used to be right in the heart of downtown, but again, the beauty of amazing partnerships. Lowenbro came to us when we were changing our lease and said, we would really love to donate some space to you guys. And so they've invited us into their building. So if you come up 15th Street and see that big gray and orange building where Lowenbro is, we're tucked back here in the back corner of the building, and it's a beautiful location. We have views of the city, and we just love being up here and having space to convene. As
you look out over the boardroom table, they even have their own mini pond out there.
Yeah, a little mini pond. I'm not sure you should do anything in that pond, but it's a great pond.
You can dream, right?
Yes, we get deer up here. We had a cougar up here for a while, so we get all kinds of fun things. But yeah, so you can always get in touch. United Way's phone number is 406-727-3400. My extension is 300, and we can always plug you in directly to them.
And we'll be sure to put the graphics up.
Yes, we're happy to have them.
Please support United Way.
Thanks.